You know, the question that I get asked all the time is, what is the market going to do next year? Now, I want to tell you something. Absolutely no one, and I mean no one, knows what the market will do next year. But what we can do is we can take a look at what has happened, and we can take a look at what's happening now, and then we can take a look at some of the economic drivers that are driving the market. Now, it's a well-known fact that Calgary has done the best of any major city in Canada in 2023 simply because of the amount of people that have been moving here. And there is definitely strong indications that that's going to continue into next year. But I'm going to walk you through in this video. I think you're going to really like it, so stick around. I'm going to walk you through some stats. I'm going to take you through where we came from in 2023, what has led up to us to where we are right now, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about what I think is going to happen in 2024. And I think you're going to find this really, really interesting because if you're trying to make some plans for maybe either moving to Calgary or even investing in Calgary, I think you'll find this video extremely helpful. All right, so I'm going to do something that I just normally do not do for my YouTube channel, and that is to show you a lot of statistics. But I apologize in advance if some of you don't find this too interesting, but I think a lot of you will, because we're going to do a deep dive into some numbers and really show you the market on what has happened in Calgary in 2023. And then I'm going to show you some interesting things about what may happen in 2024. And I think for those of you who are trying to make some decisions in Calgary, whether you want to move here, whether you're thinking of buying a property here, or whether you're even thinking of selling and buying a property here, or just selling, whatever those might be, I can promise you some of these statistics are going to help you out. So let's just dive right in. So you're going to see some stats right here, and I'm not going to point out every single number on the screen, but I'm going to give you the highlights of some things that you should understand. So you can see from November 22, we did 1,642 sales in the month of November, and in this November we did 1,787, and that spills over into year to date. You can see that Calgary did 28,459. Now these are MLS sales. This does not include whatever new home construction is. We don't have access to those numbers. But you can see that we were slightly down at 26,058, so 8.4% lower year to date. Once December is done, we may find that that might get a little closer to 28,000, but clearly we will not do as many sales in 2023 as we did in 2022. That being said, if you look at most places in Canada, that's pretty good because 26,000 sales is well above average. So you can see that this high interest rate inventory, which has plagued some big markets around Canada and caused their pricing to soften, and in most areas we have not seen that happen in Calgary. You'll also notice what's interesting is we did have a few more listings last month in November, 2,227 versus 1,611, but you notice overall we're still down 4% in inventory. And that's affected us because we've got a high demand, more sales, and we have a lower inventory. And if you look at our inventory, year to date, we're at 3,152 versus 4,338 a year earlier. That's 27% lower inventory, and we still have almost the same demand as last year. So anytime you have inventory that low with the same kind of demand, well, you can understand the supply and demand ratios are out of balance. More demand, lower supply, higher prices. And that's really what we're seeing. You can see year to date, 1.68 months supply was in 2022, 1.33 months supply in 2023. So that's down 20.66%. So that just shows you right there, really, really low inventory levels. And now you look at the sales to listing ratio. you know, if you take everything from condominium to detached homes, that's 80% of the listings that came on the market sold. So that's a really strong market. That's actually up 4.38%. And of course, with high demand and low supply, you can see the sales price to listing price is actually at 100.27%. So with this kind of low supply, if you're coming to Calgary to buy a property and you want to try to beat the seller down on the price, in most cases, you're just not going to have much success because there's other buyers willing to pay the price, and the stats here don't lie. So make sure you understand that you're just not going to be able to negotiate too hard. Now, I'm not saying that's with every single listing, but it is with a lot of listings. So just be prepared. On average, it's 26 days on the market. But keep in mind, when a property goes pending, meaning that there are conditions on the contract, it's once conditions are removed that they call that a firm sale, and that 26 days is factoring that in, which really means on average pending dates are around 10 to 14 days. So really you're looking at a week to 2 weeks on average for days on market. So it's really not taking too long for properties to sell. Our benchmark price is at $555,782. For those of you who don't know what a benchmark price is, that's just taking into an account typical properties in each category. So a typical, detached home with typical square footage, that would be factored in with a typical townhouse, typical apartment condo, typical attached property, and they come up with a formula of 555. The median price just factors in the same amount of homes that sold above the average price, same amount of homes that sold below the average price, and that comes at 595. And then the average, of course, just takes all of the listings divided by how many listings sold, and you get that 539 price range. So the benchmark price is a more indicative of an accurate market. So that gives you a good idea of where we're at. And that overall is up 5.36% year over year. Now, this chart I love because you can see month supply and price changes. There's nothing better than a chart to really demonstrate how things look. And the blue shows our inventory. So for those of you that don't really know Calgary, you go all the way back to 2008 and you can see, interestingly enough, like 2016 all the way to 2021, look at our high inventory levels, and you can see our pricing was trending kind of down because of high inventory levels, which is interesting because the exact opposite was happening in Ontario and BC. They had short supply and high demand. And then, of course, we hit the COVID era. And then all of a sudden, the red shows our benchmark prices, and you can see things started to really take off in Calgary right towards the end of COVID. And our inventory levels drop, and that's what this green is showing you. And you can see right now, we have inventory in the last couple of years, the lowest that it's been since 2008. And that's does not appear to look like it's going to change anytime soon. Now, if you want to get a little idea of what things are going to cost you, I've got this nice chart right here. It's really simple, and you'll notice that we've got 8 quadrants in Calgary. Most people think of Calgary as only 4 quadrants, but we do have 8 quadrants. And so here we are in the north, and this includes condominiums, so this is everything. 548,600, that's up 11% year over year. The northwest is at 615,100, that's up 13%. The northeast is at 486,900, that's up 16%. City center is up 6.3% at 601. The west side, 691,700, they're up 11.8%. Look at the east, 403,000, they're up 21%. Getting down into the south, 551,800, they're up 10.4%. And the southeast, 561, they're up 10%. So you can see we're just seeing a significant growth this year. And that would probably surprise a lot of people who are maybe in the east where their prices were softening, and yet we saw nothing but demand. But this gives you a pretty good understanding of what you can expect to pay. Now, again, depending on what you're looking to buy, Obviously, if it's a condo, it'll be much less than that, like an apartment condo. And if it's a detached house, you're looking at paying a little bit more than that. But this at least gives you a pretty good gauge if you're looking at the Calgary market as to where you need to be in terms of pricing. Now this chart, I get a lot of people who are investors that love to look at this chart because it's called the Housing Price Index. And what we did is we started tracking the trends of real estate way back in 2005, and we started at 100. So if you take a look at the Calgary Real Estate Board, in other words, Calgary as a whole, back in 2005, we would have started at 100. So right here, you can see that prices on average in Calgary have gone up 165% since January of 2005. And that's where our benchmark price comes in at $557,400 for the whole year. And this way you can also see the trends of 1 month price increases, 3 months, 6 months, 1 year at 10.47%, 3 years at 32.24%, 5 years at 32.57%, and 10 years at 35.96%. And what I like about looking at this is we can break this down to literally every community in Calgary. We can break it down to quadrants, and it gives you a pretty good understanding of the strength of some neighborhoods, what your return on investment will be, especially if you're an investor. I get it if you're someone that's just buying a home to live in. There's a lifestyle that you really look at, and it's not just ROI. But for those that really like to look at ROI, the Housing Price Index is a great indication. But the bottom line is this: no matter what you bought in Calgary, if you bought it 10 years ago, on average, you would be up 35%. And some people who would look at that and go, wow, we saw some pretty dark days in Calgary between 2016 and 2020, and we did, especially in condos, prices went down. But for the most part, it just goes to show real estate over time, no matter what the market is, real estate over time is a solid investment. And that just gives you a pretty good gauge of what you can expect in Calgary over a 10-year period. Now, obviously, there are some particular real estate products and some particular neighborhoods that have done a lot better than that. And of course, you can always reach out to me if you want more information on any of those particular areas, and I'd be happy to give it to you. All right, and this chart is, everybody loves a chart. I mean, here you can get a good sense of where we're at last month. This is just a November of 2023 chart, but it really is a pretty good indication. If you looked at most of the months of 2023, you'd see something similar. And right now we're looking at the detached housing market. So detached houses, 57.32% of the listings that were listed last month sold. And that gives you an idea of just how good of a market we have in Calgary, because normally in November is when things slow down. Less buyers are really looking. The weather is colder and Christmas is on the way, and most buyers usually wait till the new year before they start shopping. So to see an absorption rate of 57 is really a strong indication that we're coming into a very, very good 2024. I've been doing this for a long time, and there's only been a few years I've seen that kind of an absorption rate in November, and every time it's happened, the new year came and wow, it got really busy, and it was amazing how many buyers came into the market. So that's a good indication that we're heading into a strong market. You can see our benchmark price for the month of November was $699,500 for a detached home. So month over month, that's up 20.27%, and year over year, that's up 13.17%. And if you come down here, this gives you some hard data. It just goes to show 818 homes out of 1,427 have sold. And I can tell you, with a market that strong, if you were a seller and had your home listed and it didn't sell in the month of November, it's not the market. There's enough demand. Something is going on with maybe the pricing of your home, or maybe it's not looking its best, or maybe there's some poor marketing. But more often not, it might just be that you're asking too much money, because if you're in line with the market, there's such a demand here, it should actually sell. And this is a good chart to look at. A lot of people like this. This is market distribution. It shows where the highest demand for pricing for detached homes is. And you'll see right now 600 to 700,000 is 23.63% of the market.
And that is, to me, no doubt in my mind, this will take first place. The 500 to 600,000 is slowly going by the way of the dinosaur. You know, it wasn't even that long ago that 400 to 500,000 around COVID was actually our highest amount of homes were being sold in that price range. And now look where we are, and 6 to 700 is where it's going to be. So you can see that is becoming the sweet spot for detached homes in Calgary. And you'll also notice that we have a really strong luxury market. I mean, almost 7% of our entire market is 1 million to 1.5 million. So we have a pretty good demand here for people that want to own luxury homes in this city. And we have a pretty decent level of inventory for them as well. But I'll have to tell you, I've been really surprised even how many of these luxury homes sell, and the buyer doesn't even require a mortgage on them. So we know that there's a lot of money out there. We know that a lot of people have even come from Ontario and sold their $2 million home in Ontario and bought a $1.2 million home in Calgary and got a much nicer home for the money. And I think that trend is probably going to continue. All right, now we're looking at semi-detached. So these are, attached homes. These are not condos, and you can see 51.47% absorption rate. So pretty similar to the detached market. Of course, the price drops down, $628,700. So it's a little bit more affordable. Month over month, it's about no change at all, but it is 12.31% increase in prices on this product over the last 12 months is pretty impressive. There was only 140 that sold, but only 272 that are listed. So we don't have a massive semi-detached market like some markets like Toronto, Vancouver have. And then you can see on the market distribution, it's really interesting, 5 to 600,000. And I find that so interesting that the detached was primarily 6 to 7. Of course, this just drops down to be a little bit more affordable. And same idea. It wasn't that long ago that we had our biggest market was 3 to 400. So you can see as this demand increases, pricing increases, and this is definitely going to be top spot coming in 2024. And I think you're really going to even see this $600,000 to $700,000 range creep up. Right now, 6 to 700 is you're mainly getting into the starter infill prices. These are properties that are in the inner city of Calgary, and that's generally where the pricing starts at. But even there, you can see 9.7% of the market, 10% of the market is even 8 to 900,000. So this market is definitely increasing in price too. Whereas these homes that are semi-detached, this is primarily in suburbia. So you'll find these in the communities that are newer, but quite a ways away from the downtown core. All right, so now we're looking at row houses, otherwise known as townhomes, 65.44%. I mean, if you look at this chart, this has been crazy. I mean, literally the absorption rate up until just November has been like over 100%. The demand this year for townhouses, I've never seen it before in my entire real estate career, but I understand with maybe the rise of interest rates, and you see the benchmark price of $429. This is very affordable for most people. Townhomes usually have a basement. A lot of them have garages. They're, I guess, about as close to a home as you could get, without having to have like an apartment condo where there's a common area going down a hallway. You can walk up to your own door. And I think that's one of the reasons why there's a high demand. But investors have really liked these too, because the price that you're paying and the rent you can get for them, the mathematics tends to work quite well. We've seen people coming here from other parts of Canada that are buying more than one of these at a time. And it certainly appears that trend is also going to continue. I mean, look at the price increases, 21% year over year from last November. Even month over month is up 0.9%. And I know we've been involved in unbelievable amount of competing offers on this product. And you have to really know what you're doing to get your offer accepted, because some of these condos we've seen, 10, 12, 13 offers on one property as it hits the market. And you can see we only have 408 listed. This month, 267 sold. So the market's taking just a little bit of a breather at this moment. And I'd have to say, if you're looking to buy one of this kind of product, it might be good to actually pull the trigger sooner than later, because come February is really when the spring market starts. And I wouldn't be surprised if this product all of a sudden gets a high demand again. And you can see now, here we are, 400 to 500,000 is 30% of the market, but the biggest share of the market is still 3 to 400,000 at 34%. But I firmly believe, you watch what happens this year, we're going to be taking top spot here. That 400 to 500 is going to take the top spot. Probably late spring. You watch what happens, because the demand is that high for this product. All right, last but not least, we're looking at the apartment condo market, and this is also really strong, 63.72%. Amazing that for quite a few years, nobody was even looking at these very much. Now we've got a benchmark price last month of $320,000. That's a 17% increase from a year ago in November of 22, up 1.11% October of 2023. So this is this product is high demand. But again, if you look at Toronto, I'm always talking about Toronto and Vancouver, because we are the third largest city in Canada, and I mean, you can't get anything in Toronto for this price. You can't get anything in Vancouver for that price. You barely get a garage for that price. So the fact that we can still come into Calgary and get into a condo around that price range is really attractive to many other parts of Canada. And that's why a lot of eyes are on Calgary right now, and it's going to continue. I think it's going to continue. 568 out of 882 have sold, and 29 days on the market. And you can see our highest demand is in that $200,000 to $300,000 range. It's 47%, but it's creeping up, $300,000 to $400,000. And I wouldn't be surprised, kind of a bold prediction, but I wouldn't be surprised at all if this gets up to around, somewhere about 35% of the market in that $300,000 to $400,000 range by summer of 2024. All right, so this is the final part of this video. I know it's gone on a long time, but I think you'll like this part of it. And this is the forecast. And these are the people who are data-driven people. They're the economists. They're looking at this, and the Calgary Real Estate Board does have a chief economist. Her name is Anne-Marie Laurie, and she looks at a lot of data to come up with her forecast. So it's not just pie in the sky. And this chart, all you really need to understand is they're predicting higher sales in 2024 than 2023. So we had a record in 22. They're predicting we won't quite hit that record in 2024. I personally think we will. I think that with the strength of our economy and the amount of people that want to live in Calgary, and our pricing is still affordable, I think that we're going to get awfully close to that record of 2022. Now, they've got these economic key indicators, and you'll notice that they're predicting a huge migration continually coming from Ontario. They are predicting a migration coming from British Columbia. And those are the two provinces where they predict the most. We have still seen some migration coming from Atlantic Canada, but the bulk of it has been BC and Ontario. Right now, we all know that the Bank of Canada has held interest rates. There's reason to believe that we might actually see the interest rate start to drop. The bond market has already given us indications on long-term rates that they are. And I can tell you without a doubt, if we see softening in the interest rates, grab that with the population moving to Calgary, that's going to just even add fuel to the fire, so to speak, and really ignite even a stronger demand, making it more affordable with lower interest rates. You also notice our employment here. We have a strong employment in Alberta, strong employment in Calgary. Our unemployment rate right now is at 6.2%, which is pretty decent. There are jobs here, and we are attracting a lot of small businesses as well. Part of that, again, is affordability and the lifestyle of living in Calgary. That doesn't seem to be something that's going to change at all. And I'm happy to see this. A lot of tech companies, a lot of younger people want to be here, and that's just diversifying our economic environment. We've been primarily known for our oil and gas as our biggest source of revenue for Alberta, but we're definitely a lot more diverse now when it comes to attracting talented people in different kinds of jobs. And that's also what makes our economic environment even more attractive and sustainable. Housing starts, you can also see it was down a little bit in this year, but semi-detached row houses and apartment all saw an increase, and especially apartment, 20%. And a lot of that stems to affordability and the fact that we've seen a ton of investors that have been trying to buy some of this pre-construction product, and they're buying it on spec, hoping they can get in. By the time the product is built, it's going to be worth more money. They can either rent it or sell it. We also notice our rental rates have gone up 13% in the last year. So when you put it all together, we just summarize it now that you've seen all these stats. The summary is this: we have high demand, we have low supply, we have jobs, we have a city that people like living in. It's got a great culture. We have a lifestyle. We have the mountains. We have a city that has 1.4 million people with lots of room to grow in a fantastic multicultural city. So I think when you put it all together, people are recognizing that Calgary really is a place to be able to be, and it's affordable. It's got just an absolutely amazing lifestyle. I've loved living in the city all these years. So I think that all eyes for 2024 to me are on Calgary. And I think what we're going to see is some really strong growth. And for those of you that want to invest here, I think you'll be really happy if you do. So hopefully this video has been really helpful and everybody has a fantastic holiday season. And as always, feel free to reach out to me. Give me your comments. I love hearing your comments. If you like the video, give me the thumbs up. And of course, you can like the video too, and receive or subscribe to the video, and get notified every time I put one of these videos out, because I do them all the time.